Just waiting for Jacob to say stuff.
All right, cool. And we are live. Awesome. All right, so this is first ever live stream broadcast. This is a test stream for tomorrow night. I'll be hosting the Chaos 120 show starting tomorrow night on Friday nights. Basically takes us to where we are now. All right, so this is just basically a free form. Anyone have anything they want to talk about? You have the floor.
I will read the Telltale Heart. Nobody has anything else they want to talk about. Because I think we need brain cells back.
Sure that.
That's always a plus.
Plus, Telltale Heart's amazing. Hey, come back. Bad phone. My phone exited out of chat. It's right next to my mouse, and my book hit my mouse, and my mouse clicked my phone clicked my mouse. Anyways, so I will read, like I always do, every night. True, nervous, very dreadful nervous. I have been and I am. But why will you say that I'm mad? The disease that sharpens my senses, not destroyed, not dull them. Above all, as the senses of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heavens and the earth. I heard many things in hell. How, then, am I mad? Hark, even observe how hearty, how calm. I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to see how first the idea entered my brain, but once convinced, it haunts me day in and out. Objected, there was none. Passion, there was none. I love the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me an insult. For his gold I had no deserve. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. He had an eye of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. So by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus I rid myself of that eye forever. So much better. So much. This is what English is. Isn't it beautiful when it's used right?
No hablo inglés.
Was ist diese Sprache?
The amount of difference between then to now, it's astonishing. Person. I had to read this in middle school for a book report. I think everybody read this once in middle school. I think it was a requirement.
Yeah, I have to read.
But doesn't make it any less better than that crap that I read earlier.
I believe I got a B on it.
Anyways.
I kind of half-assed it.
Now, this is the point. You fancy me mad? Mad men know nothing. Neither do mad women, apparently. But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wise I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with that determination I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than that during the whole week before. Why are you laughing?
I'm waving at you.
Oh. I'm looking down at a book. Now I lost where I was. There I was. And every night upon midnight I turned the latch of his door and opened it. Oh, so gently. And then when I had made an open significant in my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed so that no light shone out. And then you know what? I just thought of something.
What's that?
We've all had to read this in middle school. We've all had to dissect this in middle school. What the fuck possessed those people to write like that?
It's...
Well, I'll lay this on you pretty well. Okay. In my experience with actually the exercises that we had in English classes in college, I would read other people's writing, and it was usually fairly atrocious. These were college level courses. These were college students, but they wrote like crap. I took political science classes, same damn thing. I took science classes, same damn thing. It seems to be something that has happened over maybe, I would say, last 25 or 30 years, that people are just not taught how to write. The bar has been set very low. These kids have been passed up grade to grade to grade to grade without having the adequate amount of scrutiny put on their ability to write and string words together, to not use colloquialisms when they should be using proper written English. In some ways, I'm sort of cheating because my mother was an English teacher, and so this was something that I picked up just by being raised by her, being scrutinized by her, because anything and everything that I wrote, there was like suggestions that I could make. So and over time, I developed an ability to write, but that's not an excuse. That's not such a huge advantage in my opinion. What needs to be done is to hold these kids' feet to the fire. The onus on them, the burden is on them to perform. And if they don't have the right reading and writing comprehension, they should not be passed.
Hi, Burnside.
Greetings. My apologies for being here so late. I had a toilet to go fix.
Yeah, and I place the blame firmly and directly and unapologetically on the trend of teaching kids almost exclusively to take standardized tests. They're not taught properly anymore because they're taught with the idea of these aren't real classes. These are seminars to learn how to take standardized tests. Why? Because of funding.
Yeah, standardized test scores equal better funding. So they basically go and throw everything at that. We had the same thing with CPS. Chicago.
Now, you also find that in the elementary, middle school, high school level is you're teaching to how to take a test.
Yeah, this I saw shades of this when I was in middle school and high school. I know that my nieces and nephews went through this. My oldest nephew went through high school, and this was the case, and I know it to be the case with his younger siblings. When I was a substitute teacher 10 years ago, I was shocked at how much the curriculum had been geared towards standardized testing. Shocked. This was 10 years ago, of course. I don't know what it's like now. I could not even begin to imagine what it's like now. I haven't talked to my nieces or nephews about it, but I imagine it's gotten a lot worse.
The Chicago teachers are going on strike a lot because they're really pissed off about how the curriculum is and the fact that Common Core is being pushed everywhere.
Oh, that damn Common Core.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, you mean indoctrination with communism? Oh yeah, it's so lovely,
5 + 5 = Taco Bell.
-1 equals white privilege.
Well, Taco Bell did win the franchise wars.
Yes, they did.
See, it all comes back to demolition, man.
Always.
Yep.
We're all on the
Indeed.
Cocteau plan.
So many brain cells
Again.
are coming back.
I think I'm gonna actually, if I come up with shirts for Teespring, I think I'll come up with one that says Edgar Friendly was right.
Don't
Nice.
do Teespring.
Nice.
Don't do Teespring. Do T Public.
T Public, okay.
So
Always do both.
send us a link in Discord if you could, Sylvanus, so we can all kind of profit from. So, yeah, I've heard complaints from Bering. I think Magog as well has complained about Teespring. Hasn't. No, it wasn't Bear that was complaining. Who was?
Bears complained. Bears made the comment about it all, and he's the one that said you should guys, instead of doing Teespring, do T Public, and that's
Okay.
where he's got all his stuff. And then Bear gave me a lecture on Teesprings when I told him I was thinking about doing merchandise.
Yeah, I'm coming up with some merch designs myself.
I've made one technically, but that I made for myself, and I also made a typo, so I got to go and correct that when it stays.
Okay, so just for those of us who don't completely understand the whole Teespring kind of what is the operation there? You send in your designs.
Yep.
Is there a fee that you need to pay?
For T Public, no. I don't know about Teespring. I know you send in your designs and stuff, and then you get a portion of the sales.
Okay.
Where
so-
with Teesprings, you have a chance of never seeing any money that you actually earn. Where T Public, the second you earn something, it goes straight into either your PayPal or your Payoneer account.
Mhm.
So it's not held like where Teesprings, it's held for a certain amount, and after that amount, they send you a check.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been looking for a place for quite a while now, at least a year. I was thinking of doing Vistaprint, but I've heard bad things about them too. So
Yeah, don't use Vistaprint.
No. Vistaprint's very expensive, and no, not worth it.
Their shit's done in Malaysia too, so yeah.
And the fabric will die very fast. It's not worth it.
good to know. Yeah, I've heard bad stuff about Vistaprint.
Yeah, Vistaprint is not my friend.
No,
I had some business cards printed up by them.
Yeah, the
Took them
free batch
forever to
they
send.
give everyone.
Yeah,
Bring it back.
took it forever to get here.
That was the longest I've ever waited for. I forgot that I actually even requested it by the time it got there, so it was a pleasant surprise.
Mhm.
What the hell is this on my front doorstep? Vistaprint.
Oh, I got my boots in today, so I'm exceptionally happy. I'm still grumpy, but I'm less grumpy because I got my new boots.
Congratulations.
Thank you. They're the same boots I had before, but oh my god, they are so new. They're comfy. Need to break them in.
I always like getting a new pair of shoes because they're always so comfortable. New
Oh, yeah.
pairs of socks. Oh man, I love a new pair of socks.
You and
Oh, yeah.
Dumbledore both.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the rare treasures in life is fresh linens, new
Yeah,
socks, new underwear, new shirt.
Fresh linens are a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No matter how many times, fresh sheets.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh god, yeah.
So,
Straight
maybe
out of
you
the.
wanna put somebody in timeout and learn how to do that?
Oh, do we have someone to put in? Okay.
No,
Okay.
I was just gonna have Scooby give 6 a wrench and then put 6 in timeout.
Oh, okay. I thought I was slacking.
Rock on.
No, I don't think Dumbass is subbed to Scooby yet. And I figured 6 wouldn't mind.
300 seconds.
Well,
till-
it looks like Scooby decided to time you out already. He figured it out.
I have been timed out.
Yeah, you
I
know, the amazing thing, that college education, it kicks in every once in a while.
Nice.
I'm from the era before gender studies, though.
Well,
I bet.
Yeah, underwater basket weaving hadn't become a thing by the time we were
Oh, now
both in
Normie's
college.
here, so after I was already going to teach you how to time somebody out, now Normie comes back. He's like, okay, you're not going to do it. You know, just for that, just because you're late, I'm putting you in timeout now.
You're tardy to the party, man. So
Yeah, slacking.
You knew I needed you. You knew I was going to use you. You knew I was going to be using you as a teaching weapon. Jerk.
you can only repent by getting me a beer.
and me a wheel of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Something aged, maybe a Parmesan or an
My brain's
Asiago.
not as dead after reading 3 paragraphs.
So is it your cheese or is it nacho cheese?
Oh.
That was Gouda.
Roll, I enjoy this much.
Anyways, so shall I read more?
Sure. Readeth the Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh yeah.
Read Poe, it's the law.
It is.
I'm calling it now. This is a Poe.
This must be cat slumber time because I got both of mine here and you got yours in the basket over there.
Yeah, I
They're all
don't know.
curled up asleep.
I have
I miss
no
my-
idea where my boys.
That's what we love about the apartment we live in is we cannot have pets of any kind.
That sucks.
That's why you get a picture of my cats once a day.
I know. Your cats are so pretty. I love your cats.
Not even a jar of sea monkeys?
No, I'm not even allowed a jar of sea monkeys.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah,
He's
I
the kind of guy who loves the pussy.
know.
Anyways, oh, so gently. And then when I made an opening significantly for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed so that no light shone out. And then, speaking of my boys, Valkyrs came to join us. I thrust in my head. Oh,
God bless you.
you would have laughed to see how cunning I thrust it in. Mind gutter. I moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening so far that I could see him. He lied upon his bed. Ha! Would a madman have been so wise as this? And then when my head was
God bless you.
Bless you.
thank you.
This guy would be great at Splinter Cell.
Who's listening to this? Oh god damn it. Fuck you.
Wow.
CNN, you weren't supposed to refresh, you asshole.
CNN is cancer. It must die. It must die.
Kill it with fire.
Agreed. Agreed.
It's a part of an article. It's the article that
Oh, large.
Turtles read. Yeah, back here.
Oh.
There.
It's the article that Scribbles was reading about Eminem that I'm doing a response video for.
Oh, I'm doing his F Trump thing. I thought that was.
Yeah.
I liked how Paul Joseph Watson just tore it in.
I know that was hilarious, man.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's pretty funny. It's like, oh yeah, you're very original. You know, you're begging for the establishment to invite you back. You know.
He's got a album coming out. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, he's trying to push it so that all the anti-Trump people give him money to buy it. So
Are we talking about Patton Oswalt?
I don't even know who we're talking about.
Eminem.
Oh,
Extra.
that guy's still around? How has he not died yet?
He's only in his 40s.
Yeah, how has he not died yet?
Yeah, he got a deal of some kind or another. Basically, he goes and talks shit about Trump, and they let him live.
I think he kind of missed out on the old East Coast West Coast battle thing.
That's unfortunate. If he'd gotten embroiled in that, it could have been much funnier.
Oh yeah.
I will do with what I want to say about him on my video. Anyways.
The real Slim Shady shot outside Florida nightclub.
You know, if he's looking for friends, though, I hear that Kim Jong-un is a little ornery.
Hey, Iron's with us.
Greetings.
And he's demanding a wrench, by the way, Scooby. Anyways.
Okay. You can only type so fast, and this computer's a piece of shit.
Cough, would a man have been so wise as this? And then when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously, oh, so cautiously. For the hinges cracked, I undid it just so much that a single thin ray upon the vulture eye. And this I did for 7 long nights. Every night, just at midnight. But I found the eye always closed, and so it was impossible to do the work, for it was not the old man who sent me, but his evil eye. And every morning, when the day broke, I went boldly into the chambers and spoke cautiously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone, and inquired how he had passed the night. So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed to suspect that very night, just at 12, I took in upon him until he slept. Oh, so much better.
Much better than vagina English.
I think Edgar Allan Poe invented Splinter Cell. So, I think Tom Clancy is going to have to take a back seat there because Edgar Allan Poe has clearly invented Splinter Cell.
Well, it would be public domain by now. Tom Clancy get away with that now.
True.
Yeah.
Of course, it could always be an homage.
Yeah.
What's an homage?
It is a French word for I've copied your stuff, but it's cool because I really like you and respect you, and so on and so forth.
Oh, so it's French for reach around. Okay.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
That's when I get the gist of what you're telling me. It's like this guy basically made a book that was essentially saying he wanted to give him the reach around.
Yeah, basically.
I want to give you the reach around.
Oh,
I don't know what the title was, but he called it 50 Shades of something.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
50 Shades of Reach Around. Or no, 50 Ways to Do the Reach Around.
There you go.
Isn't
It's a
that the
how-to
name title
manual.
book that they send you on April 14th?
Ugh. I'm done reading for now. My eyes are starting to get tired and seeing double.
Plus, you
Yeah,
can't
I
get
hear that. It's,
reach
quarter
around out of your
to
head, can you?
What has been seen cannot be unseen.
Sure that.
Been spoken.
They
So I must not have been paying attention. The cat has disappeared.
this cat.
Did you check inside the
Oh.
dog?
Oh, okay. The cat has moved.
Cat's just sitting down.
Cat is beautiful.
I was too caught up with chat to.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here, still here. Here's his tail.
Oh,
That's a cattail.
And his sister ran away. You know, your sister ran away. Oh, don't give me that. You have a bed right there. And here's your stuffed animal.
I'm just looking at you like, what the fuck, Mom?
And here is. There we go.
Aw, how you can find this, yo? The one that has to say hi to me.
Yeah, this is a. Yeah, this is the tabby that doesn't really talk. And the tortoiseshell is right next to me. Let's see. Get a shot of her. If I can. I don't know. Can you see her?
No, what's
Yeah,
up,
I
Pat?
get it.
Oh, it's cute. Smoggy looking cat.
You're the one that did the string. You're the one that did that. Yeah, I know why you did that. You did that so you can carry it around.
You need a carrying handle.
What's
Gotta have
his
a
stuffed
handle.
animal? This one's his. He likes to steal stuffed animals, so I went looking for a stuffed animal for him. You know.
My cats really love this little floof ball that came in one of their catnip packages. Just like one of those little puff balls that you have on those winter hats, the knit
Mhm.
caps. So I hear them playing with that in the middle of the night. You got one of these.
Inside. See the difference in the size of the two?
Oh, yeah. Valkyr looks like he's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, Sylvanas is a dwarf and Valkyr's a tomcat. The funny thing is they're litter mates.
Oh, cute. That's just like my two cats, Morris and Midnight. Morris is, oh, Jesus, he's about Valkyr size. He's literally 20 pounds of muscle cat, and he's just this butterscotch cat with these beautiful amber eyes. He's such a lovable cat.
Their name actually has a story behind it. It actually lines up with their story, if you want to hear it.
Sure.
Go for it.
It is story time.
As most of you guys know, I bounce between my home in Colorado and the farm out in Kansas. There happened to be two little kittens when I went out to the farm. Steve's grandpa and uncle only knew of one, that being this one. When I happened to come in, his sister came out of the wash house, and they were found together. For the longest time, I swear still to this day that Sylvanas would not be alive without Valkyr. So I was trying to figure out a name that went with their storyline because it just made sense. It was smart. I mean, without Valkyr, there would be no Sylvanas, so you needed something that aligned. Have you ever seen Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah.
Originally, I thought they were both boys. I was also told by that friend that they were both boys. So, Sylvanas' name was Edward, and this was Alphonse.
Oh, cute.
I went to go get them fixed, and I got a surprise. Edward was not an Edward. So I went back to the storyboard, and well, Lady Sylvanas would she died multiple times. If it wasn't for the Valkyr bringing her back and the Valkyr keeping her alive, Lady Sylvanas wouldn't be the war chief she is today. So I figured Sylvanas and Valkyr was a good name. Granted, Valkyr is a race, not a person, but I couldn't think of a male-female name that had the same storyline.
Well, he looks like a Valkyr.
He does. Valkyr also, he thinks he's 9 months old. When he was 9 months old, we had, you know those scalpaging ladders that like fold up? He had one of them land on him when he was 9 months old, so he kind of has some brain damage.
Oh, poor kitty.
Damn.
But him and his sister, they always stay together.
That's good.
They're my babies. Aren't you? And now you see why I love their names and why I'm so attached to them. They just randomly found me.
Aww.
That's really cool.
Also seal the bags.
My son's cat also has an interesting story. I found him when I don't know if you guys know what kittens look like when they're first born. They don't have the fur or anything like that. They're just like pink little rats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Angel's cat, Gizmo, I've had him since he was a pink little rat. His mom went to kill him because she had a big litter and he was the runt. I saved him.
Oh, cool.
My son was only a month old when I saved Gizmo, so I was bottle feeding both of them at the same time at times.
Oh.
I actually have pictures of when my son was an itty bitty and Gizmo was a kitten curled up together,
Oh,
which I'm not sharing online for obvious reasons.
Got
yeah,
it.
of course.
I'll share with you guys offline because, well, you guys are friends, family.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
I think at this point in time, you guys are more like family.
I found my
Thank you, Scribble Tits.
Yes.
I don't know. I actually like you. I don't like my family, so I think that's a good quality for you.
You already know my whole family thing, Scoop. Like I've said before,
Yeah.
family doesn't have to be blood.
Yeah, true.
I guess
I was
I'll tell
raised
my
old school, so yeah.
yeah. I guess I'll tell my cat stories while we're at it. My tortoiseshell. It was just one of those weird kind of circumstances of if the sequence of events had not played out the way they did, then I would not have her. Back when we found her when she was a kitten, the night before, my dad and I were going to be going to the Texas Renaissance Festival. On the way to it, my dad's truck threw a rod, so the truck broke down. So we had to coast into the nearest town and hang out at some motel to wait for my mom to come pick us up and take us back to town. So the next day when we were unloading the car, we heard a meowing from there was a field next to our house, between our house and another house. Heard this meowing from across the field, so we asked each other, what's that sound? It sounds like a kitten. So we walked over there, and there was this little tortoiseshell kitten sitting in a tree, scared and wet and stuff like that. So I reached up and I got her down, and she was purring all the way back to the house. So we kind of we took her in.
Aw.
And that's that story. So if the truck had not thrown a rod, then we would not have this cat here because we would have been at the Renaissance Festival and we probably would have never found her.
Everything happens for a reason, I swears it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Tabby has another kind of interesting story. We were about to set off to go to one of the local burger places, and we had this tree out next to our carport, and we heard meowing coming from the tree. So we went over there and saw this little tabby cat sitting up in the tree, and it looked well fed. It looked healthy. So we figured maybe it got separated from its mom. So we didn't do much more than kind of just take it out of the tree and set it somewhere where it could could find its way back to its mom. So we went to the burger place. We had burgers and lemonade that was too sweet. So when we got back, she was sitting up on top of one of the other cars. So I guess she wanted to be with us. So we took her in. And that is the story of the tabby.
Very cool.
So if she had decided to take off, but while we were at the burger joint, then we wouldn't have her. But she chose to stick around. So that's why we have her.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. I don't know. Did I tell you, Burnside, about how I wound up getting
Here
my
you guys
dog?
go. Here's a picture of Valkyrie and Sylvanas when they were kittens and we found them.
Oh, that's cute.
They're adorable.
Cute little fella.
Tiny.
Yeah.
No, you never did tell me how you got Patches.
All right. So
Hang on, you guys. I gotta go for the night. Thanks for
Alright.
bringing me in. I gotta call it a night. I gotta work in the morning. So
Sleep
All
well.
right,
everybody.
I'm playing.
thanks. Later.
Good
See
hanging
you,
out with you,
Plane.
man.
yeah,
All right.
good night.
Night.
Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, not a problem, man. Not a problem.
All right.
Let me think now. What was I saying? Oh yeah.
Patches.
So yeah, what happened with my dog was this kid. I want to say friend. I don't really like the guy at this point. He had got really heavy into drugs and it gave him a lot of brain damage. So he's not that smart. And what had happened was he came by my house and he saw that my mother had this dog. And he says to her, he's like, Mrs. S, what type of dog is that? And she says to him, oh, it's a puggle. And he goes, what's a puggle? And she says, it's half pug and half beagle. And he says, huh, pit bull. And my wife left me and she left her dog. Maybe I could breed them. And so my mother says, whatever you want to do, knock yourself out. So this crazy bastard started breeding pug pits. And if you come to the South Shore of Long Island, there's pug pits all over the place, going as far up, far west as into Queens and as far out east as near towards the Hamptons. This guy actually started breeding these things left and right. It took off. So what happened was he got into a Facebook feud with somebody, and I guess he was high or whatever, and he was staying at his girlfriend's house up over in Nassau, and I guess he got into the feud and he took out his gun and started firing his gun out the window or whatever. And I figured just insane shit. And it was a really bad storm. And what had happened was somebody called the cops and he heard noise outside and he thought it was a prowler. But what it turned out was it was a cop. So he goes outside and this guy, he used to be the All County Wrestling champ. He beat the shit out of this cop, like really bad, thinking it was a burglar. Yeah, so he wound up getting 24 months, but they knocked it down to 18 in Nassau. So what it was this guy was like a thug, but his brother was a biker and an idiot to boot. So this guy, he picks me up one day, the brother. listen, my brother's doing 2 years in county. He's like, I gotta take care of his dogs. You want to take a ride? I'm like, yeah, all right. So we go and we pick up this. He picks up a bag of cheeseburgers from McDonald's, and so we're driving around the corner, and he's driving with his knees because he's got his hands are full, and he's peeling all the buns off these burgers. I don't know what he's doing at first. We get to the house, and this lunatic opens the window and starts hucking the cheeseburgers through the window. Like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I'm feeding the dogs. So I look at him, I go, you're not going to go in the house? He's like, what the fuck am I going to go in the house for? I know what they're doing. They're going to eat the dog. They're going to eat the burgers. So I just shake my head. I'm like, Jesus, he's doing this to his mother's house, this asshole. So a couple months later, and it's the other brother. And he calls me up. He's like, have you talked to my asshole brother? I said, no. He's like, I'm going to fucking kill him. Okay, what's the matter? He said, well, first off, do you want a dog? I go, all right. He's like, yeah, listen to me. He's like, I came home. He's like, my idiot brother never opened the pet door. Been in this house for, I think it was like 18 months without going outside. He's like, I had to use a snow shovel to get in through the front door because of all the shit. What had happened also was this idiot never separated the dogs. So he came home to a house full of like, I think a little bit shy of 100 dogs.
Sounds like
Because
a
she
101
kept having
Dalmatians.
litters. Right, she just kept having litters. And what had happened was this moron, and we had a real bad falling out, me and the one brother, because I found this out after I had gotten my dog. This idiot, what had happened was he hadn't fed the dogs for a few days because he had to go and pick up, he bought himself, I think, a quarter pound of weed. And the dog was pregnant with this litter, and she was about to give birth, and she was starving, so she got into the rock salt, and she ate the rock salt. And what happened because of this is my dog has got a little bit of a neurological disorder, and the poor dog died after she gave birth. So this poor bastard, yeah, so, you know, and like I was talking to a few people, and they're like, were they negligent? I'm like, no, these people are morons. I go, you have no idea. This guy is such an idiot. Like, to give you an idea what type of a moron he is, for his Bronco, he bought a new distributor, and it was the wrong type. He couldn't get it to fit. So what he did was he lined the thing up on top of the engine and just started trying to stomp on it to get it to fit.
Oh, God. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so like people ask me, they're like, are they negligent? I said, no, they're morons. You know,
How is this guy not a Darwin Award winner?
Yeah.
Good question.
I have no idea. Like his one uncle, I'm very good friends with the one uncle. His uncle, you know, his uncle I don't think has colors himself, but he's friendly with angels. And he even told him, he's like, you can't ride with me. You're embarrassing, because this idiot at one point his brakes weren't working, so he actually, thank God he didn't catch on anything, but he tried to stop with his feet.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I'm glad that I got my dog and he's here now and he's safe, but that's how I wound up getting him.
I kind of want. Wait, hold.
Maniacs.
I feel sorry for all the other doggies.
They're all okay. They all have homes.
That's good.
Patches is really good. He's really well loved.
But it also explains all those little problems you were telling me about Patches. And the clinginess and all that. It explains all of that.
Yeah. I think it was like right before she gave birth, so he didn't get like too much damage, but like my sister came over and she grabs me once and she's like, you giving this dog Coke? I go, no. She's like, why the fuck does he act like he's on Coke? I go, I'm not giving the dog Coke. She's like, you sure? I'm like, no, because I think she was actually trying to feel around to see if I had any Coke. But I'm like, no, the dog isn't doing Coke. But if you see this dog,
you holding?
Yeah, basically. But if you've seen this dog, you'd see, you know, like he looks like he's strung out. The dog looks like he's jonesing all the time. Horrible thing, though. He really is. I'll show you guys after we're off the live stream. I'll show you Patches. He's adorable.
Oh,
I bet.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand how people can do shit like this, though.
Stupidity.
Well, it wasn't like
Never underestimate stupidity.
Yeah.
Well, they took his kids away from him too. They
It's not
took
just the
one brother.
stupidity, it's a lack of compassion for anything that's alive. Human, animal, plant.
Well, I tell you
Oh,
what,
yeah.
I could tell you stories about my neighborhood. It'll make your friggin' toes curl because it's you have such a cross section of shitballs, just all different walks of life of people. I mean, Sweeper could tell you the same thing. He lives in the same area as me. He lives in South Jersey. The tri-state area. We just have like this cross section of shitheads.
Yep.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see
they're
it here in Denver too, and up in Cheyenne. I
they're
don't get it.
products of the schooling that they have here. That's the whole problem. Is they push them through with a bare minimum, and it's just base ignorance when you talk to some of these people.
Proof of the
Uh,
dumbing down of America.
Yeah, just in a nutshell, that's basically what you're looking at and what you're dealing with. Like there was this one kid, I'll never forget it. I'm in high school with this kid. All right, we're in high school at this point. So
Lost
and now
man.
he goes like this. He walks into class and he's like, "Yo, yo, yo, turtles. They's fish, right? They breathe water and shit." And I'm looking at him. I'm like, "You're putting me the fuck on, right?" He's like, "Nah. I mean, look at him, man. It's swimming. It's breathing water, so it's a fish." I'm like,
It
"Nah, bro.
needs
It's holding its breath."
air.
Yeah. We had because I went to school with I went to a bad kid school. I wasn't actually a bad kid in high school. I was a bit of a prankster. I did like really, I did fucked up things. Like I was one of those people like, I would go and really quick. I'd go and take all the ketchup packets that they had on the lunch cafeteria, and I'd take a razor and I'd like slice a couple of the ketchup packets. So when someone would go to grab a handful, they'd squirt everywhere. I did shit like that,
Nice.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
still
I
do
was one
that
of
to
the.
this day. I do it
I
to my
used
husband
to
all the time.
tap on the toilets. I used to. Do all. I'd unscrew the soap dispenser, so when you go to hit the thing, it would like shoot everywhere. I did shit like that. So I wound up having to go to the bad kids school because they didn't want me in a regular high school. And these kids, a lot of them were morons. We had a wall of shame for like people that said stupid shit. And I'll never forget it. The one girl came into this class. She's sitting in class with us, and she's all blown out on diesel. That's what we used to call angel dust back in the day. And she goes like this. She looks up, and her eyes are all glazed over, and she looks right at me. She's like, "Scooby, June isn't a month, is it?"
You
And I'm
fucking
looking at her.
serious?
I'm dead serious. I'm looking at her, and I go like this. I'm like, Jesus, you got to lay off those left-handed cigarettes, honey. You're gonna have to start looking at your ID to remember your name.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really bad. We had a lot of people with wet brain and shit when I was in school.
And now they do roots like or articles for the root.
Yeah, basically.
That's if any of them is still alive. Like we actually had one kid. I say kid. He would have probably been 37 if he was still alive. I think he actually had a heart attack or an embolism or something. He's dead now. What had happened was when we were in high school, he used to take acid daily, constantly taking acid. And he got out of high school and got into college, and he was some sort of successful because I seen him one day driving a Beamer, and he had on a three-piece suit, and this guy used to be a local thief. But he wound up marrying this girl. She looked like Barbie. Went to school with her. The whole 9 yards. I ran into his mother up over at the deli. I'm like, "How's your son?" And she goes, "He's not good." I go, "What's the matter?" She's like, "All the LSD he used to do. He started going to chiropractor." She's like, and the guy was cracking his back, and like the acid, he started having flashbacks. And what happened was they wound up having to like commit him because he like started like losing his marbles. Psychotic. And it wound up where I think it was either part of his brain ruptured or his heart exploded just because he couldn't take the hallucinations anymore. Oh, I see his widow every time I walk the dog.
No, I'm getting tired now, guys.
Yeah, well, by me, it's 20 to 3.
Yeah, it's track 2. That's where I'm at.
But,
And you
one,
guys know where when I start going to bed. Granted, I don't sleep very long.
Yeah, I usually, I'm lucky if I can get 4 hours at a clip.
Same
I'll
here.
usually sleep for a few hours. I'll sleep for
Yeah,
a few
same
hours,
here.
then I'll wake up, then I'll sleep for a few hours, then I'll wake up, then I'll sleep for a few hours, then I'll wake up. That's how I usually do it.
Yeah, same here.
I usually get maybe about 3, maybe 4 hours of sleep, and then I wake up. And if I go back to sleep, then it'll be like 5 or 6 hours later.
And this is why we're all able to talk at all hours together.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I've actually had to adjust since I started streaming with you guys. I was in bed every night, but before 9 o'clock. So I have to get used to this now. I used to get like a solid 8 hours, so now I'm going back to spacing my sleep out again. So it's been affecting me a little bit here and there.
That's done.
You heard that, huh?
I thought I was here. Yeah, I thought I was hearing shit.
That's my toaster oven. The toast is ready.
Yeah, apparently.
It's that early. He's making breakfast.
Yeah,
I think this was a very good test stream, though.
And so more stuff came about women boycotting women boycotting Twitter. It's now became no SJW Friday because now all the SJW men are going to boycott Twitter with the women.
Oh wow, this is going to be fun.
Indeed.
Twitter's going to be quiet.
I mean, I'm no one to troll, man.
No, you won't.
This could actually be good. You think about it. If they're all off tomorrow, this is basically when you could actually have a lot of fun with Twitter tomorrow when they're not there to respond to anything. Because you know what prima donnas they are. They'll come on the next day and they'll be kicking themselves that they missed all that shit.
Yeah, true.
Yep, and then they'll throw a big temper tantrum.
Yeah, so tomorrow is when, like, Sweeper, when you go on tomorrow, that's what you should do is the most offensive, obnoxious shit you can think of. Tomorrow's the day when you post it. And then when they respond to it, you say, well, it's been up for 24 hours. It's been retweeted. It's been reliked. It's out there. There's nothing you can do about it. You got to blame yourself. This is on you. Be a dick about it.
Oh, of course.
Like you always.
Yeah. But really emphasize it. Make it where they're so fanatical now where they'll never get off Twitter again.
I have to think of a good one.
Yeah. You gotta remember, I got 5 older sisters. I was, they were like sadistic as hell to me when I was a kid. So I learned from the best.
And I'm sure you know how to end the stream.
Yep. Yes, I do. Hit stop broadcast. Big ass red button. All right. So I think it was a very good test stream. Thank you guys for sticking around and helping me out with this. I really appreciate all of it.
That's what friends are
No
for,
problem,
right?
man.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Very cool. So yeah, we're gonna do this again tomorrow night. For real this time. Not that this was fake, but you know what I mean. All right. So thank you again, guys. All right.
No problem,
and,
man.
All right, we're ending now.